Good morning, traders. Welcome to the daily webinar. Thank you to all the YouTube viewers. You guys are doing a great job sharing the videos, helping more people watch it, and having more access to this wave analysis. I also like the conversation going on the Bitcoin. One guy answered to my question, what you're going to do with your Bitcoin if all the exchange closed. And his answer was pretty much, I think it's a little naive because he says, I can buy in my country, I can use Bitcoin to buy things in shops. Great. You know why you can use it to buy things in shops? Because the shops can exchange that money, exchange your Bitcoin for real money at the exchange. And they have to actually do that because if you understand anything about the tax laws in your country, when companies are filing for taxes, when they're doing their accounting, they have to do their accounting in the currency of the country. Right? Unless they have a right for foreign currency, but there is no, I can guarantee you, no accounting system in any part of the world that will allow you to do your accounting and file your tax in Bitcoin. It's not possible. So the only reason they're accepting your Bitcoin is because they can convert it immediately into real money. Now, if the exchanges are closed down, they wouldn't be able to do that. And I would like to see the country where you can go file your taxes and file your accounting in cryptocurrencies. I don't know that a country like that exists. I might be ignorant of that fact, but if you know of any country that are going to accept cryptocurrencies in their tax system, please inform me of it. So the only reason you can buy things with your cryptocurrencies now in your country is because they will convert it for you. That's basically the whole thing. They will take it, they'll convert it, and they have already set up that system. The minute you pay, that is converted to real cash for them. That's why they accept it. Remember, Tesla was promising you can buy cars in crypto, and then I think they literally forget about that, right? Because it's the tax problem. That's the whole idea. You have to file taxes, you have to do auditing and all of that. If you understand anything about companies, how they work. It's not an individual. You also said you can individually exchange with each other. Well, in the case that there is no exchange working where you can convert it, you're literally going to give the guy crypto for crypto, or you're going to give him crypto for something that he has. I don't know, maybe a shirt, maybe a bicycle or something. That's more like bartering. And you can do that. You could have given him whatever you have. I don't know, you have an old car, you exchange it for a motorbike or something like that. That's not what I'm talking about. That's not usage of your cryptocurrencies, right? You can do that with anything. You don't need a crypto to do that. I'm talking about what really can you do with it. So I like the answer, but I think you didn't thought of it all the way to the end, right? So come back with a better answer again. Tell me what you're going to do with it if all the exchange actually closes, which means there's nowhere you or any company or anybody could exchange it if you just have it in your wallet, right? Tell me what you're going to do with it. I can tell you what I'm going to do with gold. I can tell you what I'm going to do with real money. I can tell you what I'm going to do with corn. I can tell you what I'm going to do with coffee. You tell me what you're going to do with your cryptocurrencies. It's a very simple thing, right? That's where you understand, is there any value to what you have, right? Is there real value to it? Not just made up value, but real value. Like this thing has real value. You can actually do something with it that will bring value and will even bring you profit, right? Now, I'm not talking about trading cryptocurrencies. That's a different story. You can trade any darn thing in the world you want, right? You want to trade, people trade rubbish. They trade garbage. They take the garbage in New York and they wash it and they put it in a bottle and they trade it. They sell it. That's trading, right? So you can do anything. Trading purpose, you can make money out of cryptocurrencies. But you have to be careful and you have to understand that it's only for that purpose. Until unless and until some country recognizes it. And by some country, I actually mean some Western country, either the European countries, the European Union, or the US or so. No one small country by itself will go and recognize cryptocurrency. It's going to be useless. Really, it's going to be useless. If you think about it, right? If you understand anything about geopolitics, it's going to be useless. You would have to have some really big country, China, for example, recognizing it and using it. And then it might have some value, right? Then you can go to China and, buy stuff with it, and great, you have a point if one of those countries recognize it. At that point where they're saying, we would do it, we would accept it as real currency. Anyways, like I said, I might be ignorant of those facts. I'm not following it so detailed to know what's happening in the world, which country is accepting it. I don't know those. So I'm going to be honest with you. If you know those facts, tell me. Let's go. Let's move on now. That's a good conversation. You guys can, share your views on that. I'm willing to accept it. Let's start dollar index. So dollar index, we're in the dollar index and it's kind of pulling back. You can see this. Like I said, this could drop one more and then we will see what happens here. Once it breaks this low, if it consolidates in this range, it's downside. If we get a flag here, that's upside. So right now, we really don't have anything there. It's now starting to consolidate. Looks like a little running flat for me, but I'll be careful with it, especially with these smaller ones here. Let me use a different color, yellow. Especially with these smaller ones here, I'll be careful. I want to see a better consolidation like this in this range. If we get anything like that, we go for the buy. Again, if this comes lower, we get one more up, we're going for the sell. Pretty much like this. You get a consolidation here, comes deep down here, you go back up, you're looking for a sell. You get a flag at the top here, you're looking for a buy. That's very simple. Now, that doesn't mean that is how you're going to do with all the patterns you see. Anywhere you see a little flag, you buy, or anywhere. That is because I'm looking at the bigger structure, right? Which when you're going to buy those flags and when you're going to wait for a flag, depending on where you are on the biggest structure, right? So this thing is like a puzzle. You have the bigger ones and you have the smaller ones. We trade the smaller ones, but we always look at the bigger ones to tell us where it can go because you want to get the bigger moves. So literally we are trying to get a move like this to the top there, or if this consolidate to the bottom here, we're trying to get a move all the way back to the bottom, which you'll have to go to the daily to see where that bottom is. And on the daily, the bottom is actually here. So if we get a flat here, we're trying to trade this back to this level. If we get a flag here, all we're doing is trading it to break this top because eventually this move is going to happen, right? I hope you get that part clear. So let's go back on the 1 hour and see what trade we get today. Basically, it's too early to put an entry order for either the seller or the buy, because I don't see any setup whereby you could put an entry order. We might get, if this stays in the consolidation here, the likelihood is today you can have a buy setup. If that doesn't happen and it comes lower, then by tomorrow we will get a sell setup. So if you follow me for the whole week, you will see how those patterns develop and how we look at them and what we do with them. Silver, that was a good buy and it dropped. So two things can happen right now. You can either get a bigger consolidation here and a continuation to the upside, or again, you get just a flag at the bottom here. And then we go back into the structure. Just breaking out. We did have a very nice consolidation. Well, almost at the borderline of the structure, right? So that kind of indicates that it's more upside. When that happens, you look for more upside, but that is only one criteria. The other criteria, remember, and I think this is where it will complicate it if you're not one of my traders knowing the rule, we're still in this impulse. And by rule, you're in correction. So let me just leave it at that point. So it still could be a correction, which means it could still drop to the low. There's still a lot more before you can be convinced that now we're going up. But if it makes a flat here, we're absolutely going to buy it for long term, which means the trades we take, if we get a flat there, would be for a longer term period. They will go much more because by then I think we'll all be convinced that this is totally going up. If we end up with a flag here, we'll consider the sell. We'll consider sell not for long term as yet, but at least to come back to this low like this here. You got this one come down here, and if it comes down slowly like this, then it's likely upside. If it comes very fast, especially if you break out of that structure, we're going to retest the low. That's all. Very simple. We don't have any setup for it right now, not for the buy, not for the sell. So it's pretty much like the dollar index. We don't know which direction it's going to go as yet. But by the end of today, we'll have a setup, or by tomorrow, we'll have a setup, and then we'll decide which way it's going. Can you trade? And I think one of the things, so some traders ask me, so can we trade within this range if it starts to go like up here and come back here? Well, if you have the skill levels, you can do that. So you can take smaller trades within ranges like that if you have the skill level to get in, get out, and if you have a very, very good understanding of what's happening inside the range. Sorry, guys, I don't know what's happened to my throat today. Give me 1 second. Let me mute my. I'm very sorry for that. Yes. So we don't know. If you're very good with understanding patterns and how it can develop in there, then that's a tradable range in a very short-term period. Gold, and yesterday we said gold looks most likely like more downside than upside. It actually came back pretty deep. And if they stay within this range here, low like this, you see this one actually stayed here for a while. It depends on what pattern you see here, whether you're going to get the upside. So we don't have any pattern here that tells us upside as yet. And we don't have anything that tells us downside as yet. Right? We don't have, all we have is one move up. We have a move down and we have a move up. That's all. We came back down here. Now it depends on how this behaves. We go back to the top, make a flat here, we're going to go up. Or this actually consolidates here, come down to this level and then go back up there and we're totally going downwards. Right? So we'll just have to see which pattern develops and where. Big picture, downside is more likely. If you look at the way this is going, right? The big picture here, the most likely pattern we can expect is that even if you come here, you're going to go down because this looks very corrective. Now, can that change? The question is, well, you will say, well, what if it actually takes off like this now? Well, yes, once you break the top, any consolidation above there would means that you're changing the structure. All of this would be the correction, and that will go. Do we have a pattern that might look like that? Well, we'll look into it. Right now, I'm not looking at that because that's a waste of time, especially if this is going to develop more. Then you will end up with more patterns or more possibilities for what the pattern is going to be. Let's look at the most immediate pattern right now, which is what it's doing right now in here to decide the direction of the trade we're getting. Euro. Upside, I still think this might be upside more. This looks more like upside, especially that this is going higher. If it comes back to this level and drop, we got a perfect buy setup. I hope it goes a little higher because the euro might give us the indication before the dollar index give us the indication, right? Euro is 50% of what compromised the dollar index. So if the direction in euro, we can see it earlier, that is most likely the direction where the dollar index is going to go. Euro goes up, dollar index goes down, right? So this might give us an earlier indication as to what it's going to do. Let's see. It's too early still, but it's going up quite a lot. So let's see if it goes a little more. And that means we'll be probably looking at a flat pattern. As of now, it can still come down. Pound. We're looking more for a sell in the pound, especially if it starts to come down from where it is here. That will be more of a sell setup rather than a buy. If this goes up a little more here, well then, yeah, could probably be a buy setup. We'll see which one it goes. Can it actually take off like a rocket from here? It's possible, but we're not going to go into that part as yet. Especially with the news coming up, it could. Aussie is upside. We finally broke the top. So if you were following me from Monday, well, actually, if you're in my group and you were following me from this point, you know we were going to break the top. We broke the top. Now, can it go more? There's a 90% chance of them coming to the 270. So I do think it can go a little more. And then from there, we will decide, is it a continuation pattern or is it actually going to come back here for a flat? There's a very, very deep pullback. And by rule, when you get the pullback so deep, you're always thinking a flat pattern. It's not always going to be a flat pattern. But 90% of the time, because they pull back so deep, you're thinking it's making a flat pattern. Now, what you would have to look for is the bigger daily structure or the bigger weekly structure in this case. What is the bigger weekly structure? Nothing. It's just one piece down. That's all. This is the big impulse up, and this is the big impulse down. That's all. So we don't have any indication of what is going to happen here in terms of the bigger structure. It could come here, come back here, do this, do this, do this, do this, and then we will say, okay, 1, 2, come back for 3, and then go. Now we have an indication on the weekly what it could do. It could also come back here, be a flat, drop lower, and then start to go back up for that part. So on the weekly, both of those are possible, simply because we don't know whether this actually ended here. And you would never know that, right? Until this really starts to get corrective, and then you figure out, okay, well, that is the corrective part going up. We're still in the down structure, and that looks very much like a flat. If this was a short correction, let me go back here. If this was a short correction, let's say in this level, I would focus the upside. I would actually forecast total upside. But because it came so deep, it leaves it open for both possibilities. That's something you learn about wave analysis. New Zealand, let's go. Same thing here, same process. I told you we broke the top. Now we'll see whether they get to the 270. You might still get another buy if you get a flag. You can always under the Aussie, by the way, if you get a flag, you can take the buy, but it's going to get much riskier the higher you go, right? So you'd have to be careful. If this is a buy, at least to the 270, and then we'll see what happens from there. Swiss came down. And the 1 hour you'd expect this here, that was the breakout. I don't know why the line is there. That was the breakout. This would have been your sell if you sold it. And I think if you sold it, worst case is you got break even. If you saw the turning, you probably, once you break the low, by rule, once you break the low, you put that to break even. That's a lot of rules I'm giving you guys that I shouldn't probably be doing on YouTube, right? So once you break the low, you can consider the structure might have completed itself. So the worst cases you'll get is a break-even trade in the reverse, especially, and I think I mentioned this to you yesterday, especially when it starts to make these big flats here. You're coming close to a reversal point, right? When the impulses are getting smaller and the corrections are getting bigger, you're coming close. Now, it still hasn't reached where we would like it to go. That is this level. Now, again, remember, you can stop at this level and go up, and that would be a perfect running flat. We're just assuming that it can come lower, right? Because then it will be equal to this. This pullback here that happens, that doesn't mean anything. This doesn't mean anything as yet, until and unless we get a consolidation here today, and then we're buying. It comes down deeper. Well, we'll continue to look for sells until we get here. Right now, you don't have any sell setup. You really don't have any buy setup. You can take buys if you're very skillful, because these small flags will eventually come back to make a 1 hour flag. These are most likely 15 minutes flag. For my traders, if you're trying to buy this, and I know a lot of you are trying to do that already, be aware, right? You know that you can have a few of this, and then you're going to get the 1 hour one. So you just have to be cautious in the buy. Yen, no. This is no surprise, nothing new here. We're going to go up. You should be in the buy, and actually you should be in the buy from this level, from this small breakout here, this small flag here, or from this level here. And as soon as this moves off of that zone, you can put it to positive. It's going to go. If you want to put it to break even, you can do that. You don't have to worry about it. I still think this might be just a flag and upside, a flag and upside. They do that. They quite a lot. See a flag, upside, a flag, upside, a flag, upside. So there might be those small flags and upside. We still have a lot to go. I think we still have about 400 pips remaining to the top, let's say. The last time we counted was about 500, but that was way down at the bottom. So from here, we still have 430 pips to go. So every flag like this is a buy setup. You might get a 1 hour flag here for a buy also if you're not in the trade. If you miss the first one and it makes a flag here. It's coming like this. So it comes here, come back here, and then take off. That could be a buy setup. See, this one here was a buy. But then they go slow. Sometimes it goes slow. Sometimes you never know. You get a surprise and it takes off really fast, right? See, this piece was much faster. There's a number of flags here. You can see the lines there already. But then the 15, you would see them. All the flags we had there when we were going up. Yen moves like this. See, there was a flag here. There's a flag here. There's a flag here. There's a flag here. This one would have been a break even, right? So a number of flags you get. Or if you kept it, if you put your stop under this low or under this low, it would still be, but let's go with a break even in that case, because those are 15 minutes flags. So if we get another flag here, that'll be a buy. Can it come deeper? Can this actually go deeper from here? Let's say drop like this and start to make a bigger correction here before they go. It's possible. Let's check the MACD. Let's check, see if we have divergence in the MACD. And if we do that, well, yep, we do have 1 hour divergence. Yep, that is possible. So be careful. If you're going to buy now, be careful. This could start to give you a deeper correction before they go back. So pull back maybe a fifth. How much it can pull back? Let's see what's the bigger 4 hour impulse. Oh yeah, they can pull back quite a lot. They can pull back about 100 pips down here before it actually goes. So let's see. We might even get a sell setup on it today. All right, go for the sell if we get a sell setup. If it doesn't go back too deep into the top, we can consider the sell here for the deeper pullback and then the upside. Now, if you're in YouTube and you're watching this for the first time, or you're not very much aware of wave analysis and all of how deep it can pull back and how long it takes and all those stuff that you need to know, you might want to be really cautious about trading anything I say here. right? Because this what I'm telling is mostly for people who have a very good understanding of wave analysis, right? They would understand where and when and how to do it. CAD, actually, we're getting a buy setup, and we have a perfect buy setup here. You don't want a better one than this. Go for the trade, and then we'll see where it takes us, right? So let's see in the 1 hour what it looks like. Yeah, it's a buy setup. Go for it. If it comes much deeper, then we take it off, right? If they drop deeper, then we'll take it off. Right now, it's a really good buy setup. You can put an entry order above here and go for that. If it drops deeper here into this level, we'll take it off. But right now, if you take off right now, it's a good buy setup. So we go for the buy, and then we'll see where that takes us, right? Even if it's just a deeper correction for retesting of the low, remember, we wanted to come to the 786. It's not always going to get there, right? We just checked the previous ones, and I think on both corrections, it went to the 786. Now, it doesn't mean that this time it will go. 618 is good for a turning point if they're going to go up for a big daily correction, right? But basically, we get a buy setup, let's take it. Let's not ignore any of the buy setups we get. Once it comes to a lower point, and if it gets to the top and turn again, we already discussed it on the daily. By the way, if you're watching this video and you didn't watch the Monday one, watch the Monday one, because I explained that in the Monday videos, right? The first video for the weekly outlook. Aussie yen, you can buy more flags if you have. It's going very, very slow, but it's going up. We are already at the top. We'll probably break the top, go a little higher, and then we'll see. Euro yen is a buy. You should continue to buy that. You just have to be very cautious, because if they do this, and I warn, once they do this, after a certain point, it can drop. So every buy you take here, you'll have to move your stops. So if it's going to drop, you're out of the trade. It will drop for a deeper correction before they go higher. They're coming to this level, and I can't see this thing working its way up like that all the way to the top there. So I don't think this one is going to just crawl up all the way to the top here. I don't see that happening unless you get a sudden spike, right? I see mostly dropping, making a deeper correction, and then going back to the top. That is very possible. New Zealand yen upside. All the yen pairs are upside. Yen is going up, so all the yen pairs will go. CAD yen is upside. CAD yen, be careful. I would not buy the CAD yen. See, it didn't go very far. It just broke the top slightly. So we might get a running flat here, which means don't sell it, let it drop like this, and then look for the buy. Go for a running flat if you get a running flat. So we're not trying to sell it, we're not buying this yet. Swiss yen. Okay, this one is already coming down. We anticipate that this move could come down. Let's see, we have it. It's coming down. It might just be a deeper correction. I think this might just be a deeper correction and then upside. Right now, it's not a sell setup yet. EuroCAD. EuroCAD would be a sell, it's just not ready. Actually, this looks like we're going to make a flat here, go there, come back here, go back up. We already had one of that flat in here. And then we got this one up. So we'll probably make another flat here and get one more up like this and then drop. So something like this, it's consolidating. You could ignore the consolidation. Or if you have the skill level to trade within a 50, I think it's a 20 pip range. It's a 60 pip range, but that's from top to bottom. You will never be able to pick the top or the bottom. So probably stay away from it. Let it finish this, and then we look for the sell setup. Euros keeps going down. At some point, you might get a deeper correction, but every flag you get, you can sell. If you sold this flag, put it to break even, because it looks like a deeper correction is coming. Euro New Zealand, a deeper correction will come. If you're in the trade, move your stops. If you're in the sell, move your stops. There's no sell setup here right now. We'll actually get a sell setup if this pulls back. If that pulls back there, then we'll get a sell setup at this point. So let's see. Euro Swiss. Okay, Euro Swiss broke the low and we're heading back up, right? So remember what I said yesterday. Every time they break the low in a pattern like this, every time you break the low, all this was paired, you will go back up. And you actually had a buy setup here. I think there was a good buy setup. It's more of a contracting flag. For upside, any flag you get there is a buy. We're heading back to this level and then hope that this breaks out. Right? The bigger picture, it can break out. We don't know that this will break out. We don't know that for a fact. But we're not talking about this piece. We're talking about the entire piece. If we're going to go down more, then the likelihood is this is going to come back to this level here. and then drop again, right? We're actually going to continue doing this. If we're taking off, this is a move to the upside, like that. So any flag you get now is a buy. There was already a buy setup from yesterday. I wasn't wrong yesterday. I actually wasn't. I was out all day, and I would have to leave again today because I'm getting some of the documents set up in for my family. And I had to take one suddenly yesterday, and I had to go 3 times to get everything done because I had to translate, take it, translate it. Well, let me don't go into details. Forget about that. I think basically I was out all day almost. And today I'll have to run it back after the webinar again. So I hope I can come back in time to join you guys for before the New York session and the New York session, because today I just have to get one thing finished off and everything will be okay. So just wait for a flag and go. These are just basic, things you do in life. Euro-pound, we just discussed. There's a possibility it's going to be a sell, but I think they might bring it back to about this level here, make a flat here, and then we get the sell set up. So if it does pull back to this level, it would be a good idea looking for a sell from there. If it starts to drop, there's pound news coming up, so it could drop from this level here, right? Drop like this, then we might eventually get a pullback and a go. So let's see which one comes first. Pound yen, it's more upside. You have to be very cautious. We broke the top already, and pound news is coming, so I'll be careful if I'm in the trade. Move your stops very tight. Pound CAD, it's a short-term buy, long-term sell, which means short-term, we expect this to probably make one more up. Long-term, they will have to drop and break this low before they go back up. So unless this really takes off, then we will go with the contracting flat, which means we're not going to break the low. Pound Aus, it's downside, it's still going down. We broke the low. We're still expecting a move back up like this at some point, not necessarily now. It could take a year before that happens. I think we've seen it in some pairs where this thing takes about a year to go. So if you get a little pullback here, that's a perfect sell setup. We think we can look at that as a running flat there. Small running flat. More something like this. Something like, well, this is the bigger one. That's not a small one. Something like that. We just want a small one like that, which would be similar to this and then downside. But you want it to pull back first a little. See on the 15, you actually want this to pull back sharp. You want this to pull back like this and then go for the sell. We'll get this running flat. This is the biggest structure, so you can go for the running flat there and then drop. Let's see if that happens. Pound Swiss. Pound Swiss made a new high. Nothing is wrong with that. We can make a number of new highs here. You can see the pattern. Let me show you it in the 4-hour. It'll be easier for you guys to figure it out in the 4-hour. Right? It dropped, made a big correction, dropped, made another correction, dropped, made a deeper correction, dropped, making another correction here. It could take a while. You could do this and then drop again. Right? Now, the question is, what is all of this? Could this all be some big correction for one more drop here, like a 1, 2, 3, and then go? That is possible. If you go back on this chart and you look at the way these patterns behave, you would likely see something like that. Here is a good example of one. You go up and you start to get all these CDs and they drop, they do this, they drop, they do this one here, they drop, and all of that is just one big correction for the next big move up. You have another one that is similar to that. If you go backwards, you will find it. This is a smaller version of that. I'm looking for a bigger one where they have a lot of these sideways move. Probably the daily will help me. Let me see. Where you're looking for something similar to this, right? And then watch it go. So let's see if we can find something like that. Maybe this one would be a good example. You drop and then you start to make all of these and then drop. So we're pretty much similar. Here, this might be a similar one as well. You're just doing this, and at some point, this whole piece here drops below this and then goes. So you'll get something like that. That is a possibility. Can it actually drop and drop all the way to the bottom? If you look at this as a 1, 2, 3, yes. So for this, for the trade internally here, the down move is the most logical one on the daily and on the 4-hour. And it's going up right now as a correction. So expect the sell setup. See, up move, drop, up move, drop, up move, drop. Let's go to the 1-hour. You don't want to buy it at the top, that's for sure. You can look for a sell setup, but you don't have a sell setup here. Well, if we get a drop and a flag, we'll get a sell setup. That sets up like this one here. This one didn't go. This one actually dropped here, stayed here, and then go back up. That's a break-even trade. You can watch this come here and go back up. That would be a break-even trade. But if it drops, that is a trade you want. So we will look for the sell setup today. Right, this is still showing a sell setup possibility. Pound New Zealand, it's already going down. Just wait for flags and sell. Aussie Swiss, upside, any flag is a buy. We already discussed that. Aussie Swiss, New Zealand Swiss, any flag you buy. Aussie New Zealand, you can go for sell. You're getting a flag, you can take the sell. Aussie CAD, you'll have to wait for more flags and buy. This seems like a big move back to the top. So any flag or correction you get, we can look for buy setups. CAD Swiss. Okay, we came down back. We're totally out of this box. It's a deep pullback, actually a very deep one like this. But this looks more corrective. I think we discussed that yesterday. So we're looking for this to be 1, 2, 3. Probably break this top. And then there's a good chance we might get this pullback. There's a very good chance that we might get a pullback like this before we go, completing this running flat pattern. So if you get a flag here, you take the buy. If I'm wrong, it's totally going to take off. Good for you. I hope I'm wrong if you got the buy setup. If I'm right about it, it's going to go up some more, come back, you'll get break even, come here, and then you start to buy. Right? Whether you get a sell or not is irrelevant. So we can take this out now. And you can see the complexity of how this developed. Take that out. That part worked perfect for that up move. Now we've got this. And every time you get something like this in a sharp move, we know we're assuming that it could be more of a running flat pattern because this one is inside this here. This means we could be thinking about running flat patterns. Let's see. There was a buy setup here, by the way. I think most of you should have seen that. It's a very clear, nice buy setup for the upside, at least to break the top. And wait for a flag sell. This looks more downside now. We actually broke out of this. There was a slow down move here, but this drop here, any correction here would be more down. So it was a big picture. Well, most likely retesting that low. Let's see in the weekly. Could be a running flat in the making, right? I wouldn't be surprised if this just comes here and go right back up. We could probably look at this as a running flat in the making. So you get an up move, you get a down move, and then you get an up move here again. That's very possible. So although it's a down move here, you'd have to be, do we have divergence in play? Well, you can't look for divergence here, so that wouldn't help. You'd have to look for internal divergence in this. On the daily, I think you do have. On the week, on the 4 hour, you'll probably have. And maybe on the 1 hour, you can check it within the last piece down. So you're getting down move. If you get a flag, you can sell it. It will probably go down some more, but you'll have to be cautious for that possible daily running flat pattern. Okay, we're pulling back, so we probably still get a chance for upside. Wait for a correction, one more up, take the trade. US oil still going. Every small flag you can buy. And like I said, when it makes an impulse, you take the profit, starts to correct, get out of it. Right? So if you took this buy, it starts to correct here, get out of it. You can take this buy. It starts to correct here, get out of it. Right? There's a buy setup forming here. It starts to correct, get out of it because at any point it can turn. For the UK oil and the US oil. Natural gas, if they consolidate here as a flat, we can sell. Unless, don't go for the bias yet. It's way too early for any buy setup. Even if it's going to go up from here, we don't have a sharp impulse for any buy. It's more of a sell right now. US started. Okay, we're still going up. So not a perfect buy setup, especially not to the top and with these deep pullback here. And we don't have a real good flag here. If anything, you're going to have a small running flat here. Not the best buy setup. I would probably want them to come down like this. So you have an advantage of when it breaks the top, put it to break even. You don't have that advantage if you buy into this running flat. Next. Okay. Put your entry order for the sell. Nothing can go wrong with it. If it goes up, it goes up. If it drops and it's looking more like it could drop, right? If it goes higher, if this piece goes higher here, well, then you can take it off because it's going to come back here and then go, right? We'll buy. But if this drops here now, you better set it up for the trade. That entry order, we'll leave it and we'll see. We'll manage it as we go along. S&P 500. Wait for flags, buy. Wait for flags, buy. Because the moves are already gone. We're looking for a sell setup here. And we were anticipating a move like this. So if you get a small flag here, that's a sell setup back to this level and then go back up. Nifty buy, any flag you get buy. It's making a correction, buy it. Tesla, you be careful. You can actually look for sell setups. We're very close to the top. It can go break the top, but I would not buy it into the top. If it comes here, give you a sell setup, you can sell it back to the low. Amazon, a little more, and then we'll look for the sell. It still has a little more to go. You probably have a buy setup there. And then we'll see whether they drop from that point, whether this is actually a flat. And I think it is a flat for downside. Reliance, you can buy any flags you get, go back on the 1 hour, buy any flags you get. It's moving very slow. You just have to understand how it moves and be ready to, wait some more on that. PayPal didn't drop us yet, so let's see if we're going up. PayPal is, this piece is getting very corrective. Now, if they go back more like this, then this whole piece here becomes more like a corrective structure, which means can we go one more up and then come down? That looks possible. So if you started to see flag for upside here, and especially when you're breaking out of this structure, if you get a correction or flag here for upside, we'll buy it. It will be a buy to retest the top and then come down. Well, this finally dropped as expected. We expect it to drop, make a flat, and put an entry here for a buy setup. Bitcoin. Yep, it go up a little more, expected, nothing new here. This was a flat. We go up, you're probably getting a flag here, so you probably get one more up to. And as you come to the top, you'll have to be careful. So we will see what happens when it comes to the top. My idea is when they come to the top, it's likely going to drop. Even if you break the top, the likelihood is we still don't have this impulse to the downside based on wave analysis. We should have a move to the downside. Now, how high they go above the top? Well, I'm not expecting them to go very far high. We're not expecting a long drawn out running flat, but we'll see what happens. So if you're buying, you have to buy with caution. But we'll see. I think by the end of the week, we might see what happens. XRP. This looks more downside. On short term, it can go up one more. I think I already drew this line yesterday. I know why it disappeared. So in the short term, yep, this could actually go make a new high and then come back. We'll see. LinkedIn, more of a sell setup. Actually, you're getting a flag here for a sell too. ETH. By the way, I've got some requests to change these from YouTube, so I'll take note of the ones you guys want, and then I'll put it in my group to decide which ones we want. I would definitely do that if I come back early today. I'll change them, and then we'll see what are the top 10 we have, because it seems that not everybody is trading this. This one is coming down a little here, but the little downside might still be a correction. This might still be a correction for upside, but I would take this sell. I'll take it, put it to break even. If they go back up, take the break even, because if this starts to drop, you don't want to miss it. So you can actually take it for the break even, manage it, and if it becomes more of a flat, it didn't break the top. So if it becomes more of a flat for upside, you will get break even. But basically, I wouldn't be surprised if it dropped. Dash, this is more downside. I think this one is more downside, except that if we think this is making a big flat, but right now it's consolidating for a sell. More downside. It could crawl up a little more to this level, but it's more downside. Short term, it's more downside. Long term, it's more downside. This one looks more downside too. They will probably get a sell setup here. And actually get a sell setup back to the low and then see if they go back up. This could be a trade. If they break out, that would be an amazing trade. And LTC. Yep. It's going up slowly, so I wouldn't be surprised if they get to this level here, break the top, but then it's downside. I don't see them totally taking off. If they do well, you'll be in the buy. It's a short-term buy. That's about it. I think we've made it. So I would stop the recording. Thank you guys if you managed to come this far. For the YouTube viewers and everybody, please share it. Share it with everyone, you know. Somebody might like it and might learn something from it. I would see you guys. So I'll stop the live and I'll stop the live, I'll stop the recording, and we're in the trading room. We're not leaving. Right? I will not stop, I will not close the webinar as yet until we finish, right? We have 10 minutes and then we'll close.